We all know Pablo Escobar, possibly the biggest drug trafficker that the world has ever witnessed. He built the most massive drug empire ever known to man, smuggling as much as 80% of all of the cocaine present. And to achieve this insane network and power, he created an entire army of serial killers, men who were fiercely loyal and would not question his orders even in their sleep. His team of killers was called Sicarios. It comes as no surprise that Sicarios had some of the deadliest serial killers, and it was next to impossible to escape the wrath of Pablo because of the skilled hitmen he had personally picked. Among the most vicious of these Sicarios were Popeye, La Cuica, and Blackie. These men were collectively responsible for over thousands of killings, and even carried out bombings. Needless to say, hundreds of innocents were killed as a result of these flashy displays of power. Are you wondering where they are now? If they're paying for their mistakes or still reaping the fruits of the money they made blindly by following their boss's instructions? Well, keep watching till the end, because that's exactly what we're going to uncover today. John Jairo Velasquez, more famously known as Popeye, was a part of the Colombian National Army. Yes, you heard us right. Most civilians trust officers in uniform without giving it a second thought. But what we do not know is that masked among those officers somewhere is lying another Popeye. This is precisely why one should always be extremely careful of who they trust, who they disclose information to, who they let into their house, etc. But that's the topic for another video. Popeye even joined the cadet school of the National Police. Initially, he was a member of the Colombian Navy, a part of the school of NCOs. Post this, he studied for 1 semester at the National Police Academy. The biggest irony here is that Popeye was a part of an organization that was created with the sole purpose of safeguarding people's lives. It doesn't end here. Popeye possibly developed most of his skills from the intense training that he received. He was known to shoot people with impeccable efficiency. After all, he was serving the Mafia king of Colombia. He's confessed to having killed a whopping 257 people in his lifetime. And that's just the number that he confessed to. For all we know, the real number could be way higher than that. Popeye was quite skilled at kidnapping as well. And he was no ordinary kidnapper. He was responsible for kidnapping several highly influential people, which includes Francisco Santos, who is a candidate for mayorship. He was responsible for kidnapping a large number of politicians. In one particular interview, he talks about his first ever murder at 17. This extremely skilled hitman wasn't even a major when he killed a bus driver who'd killed a close friend's mother. The most surprising part of it all was why on earth would a media house even interview a person with as lethal a history as his? What about now? Where is Popeye? Simply put, dead. For the number of atrocities this man has committed, he deserves 1,000 deaths. He was sentenced to prison in 1992 for 30 years. However, he got out in 2014, but was sent back to prison again. In the end, he died of stomach cancer. Popeye even made a YouTube channel where he would talk about his murders. This suggests that not only was he void of any compassion, but he was also almost proud of the killings and probably considered them as achievements. Dandeni Munoz Mosquera, or La Cuica, is probably the most heartless hitman who worked under Pablo. He was one of the hitmen that Pablo trusted more than anyone. He ran a training camp where he would train young men to become skilled killers who could be trusted and knew how to kill efficiently. And La Cuica was bloody good at what he did, pun intended. He was a ruthless man who carved the words KK onto the bodies of his victims to prove the point that it was in fact him who was responsible for the murder. This killer liked to make a statement. Naturally, the US police were after him, but to no fruition. In 1989, Dandeni was hired to blow up an entire aircraft, only to kill a single passenger that happened to be inside an informant. La Cuica not only carried out this deadly bombing, but also allegedly bragged about it. Man, Pablo Escobar sure was ruthless, but the thought of boarding a plane as a normal citizen, only to end up dead in the middle of nowhere, has to be on top of the list of the worst ways to die. There were over 100 people in that aircraft, 100 innocent lives. Think of the kids left without a father, people separated forever from their significant other, or parents that lost their kids before they could tell them, "We love you," one last time. It's heartbreaking to even think of, left alone experience. It's a mystery whether these killers truly ever grasp the tragedy that they've knowingly inflicted onto people's lives. People who've done nothing wrong to them. People who have probably done nothing wrong to anyone. This is the reason why millions have lost their faith in humanity. 2 of those passengers were US citizens, and hence this gave the US the power to convict Dendeni. Being convicted of over 660 murders in the United States and Colombia combined, Laquica was sentenced to 10 lifetime imprisonments. I will never understand why they don't just hang such people right away. To this date, Laquica is serving his time in prison. I was hoping the time in prison may have changed his perspective towards life and caused him to regret his life choices, but I was wrong. In an interview, Dendeni denied all of his crimes, claiming that all of the pieces of evidence used against him were fake or made up. Seriously, in my opinion, Laquica should just give up on his life as quickly as possible. Last but definitely not least on the list of Pablo Escobar's Sicarios is Nelson Hernandez, or Blackie. He was one of the top lieutenants of Pablo Escobar and the Medellin cartel. Under Pablo's commands, Nelson kidnapped Miguel Angel, Isabela Batista, and Felix Gallardo, and brought them to Pablo in Medellin. He was famously known for his fierce loyalty and his assassinations. Blackie never blinked twice before blindly following the orders he received from the Mafia king. He is headed in a downward spiral all along. He was so loyal that he even attacked Colombian judges and set fire to shreds of evidence to help his boss swerve getting punished for his crimes. In 1993, Blackie assisted in carrying out the Bogota shopping center bombing, where explosives were planted in a car that was parked at a downtown shopping center, which killed over 20 people. Under Pablo's orders, Nelson even killed Kiko Moncada. While watching the wreckage he had caused through the bombing, Nelson probably started to realize the gravity of the situation. At the time of the bombing, there were mostly women and children present at the venue, as kids were shopping for back-to-school supplies. This, combined with the fact that he had impregnated his girlfriend around that time, made him cave. He was caught by the police in 1993. When threatened to be hanged to death, he gave away the location of Dendeni Laquica. Although his whereabouts are now not known for sure, he's probably safe and alive for all we know. We rarely come across such spine-chilling stories in our day-to-day lives, but atrocities against humans are never-ending. We're probably the only species that, despite being the smartest, make the cruelest decisions every day by trying to bring each other down one way or the other. Most people cannot stand to see others be more successful, rich, or happy than them. Such petty issues take up so much space in our lives that we forget about the bigger picture. The fact that we're alive and well, and hopefully have a roof over our heads. Remember, you're always one Mafia Lord's command away from death. As unsettling as it may sound, it's the cold, hard truth. Considering this, wouldn't the wisest thing to do is just be grateful for what we have now and try not to hurt over our loved ones? To smile at strangers, get a coffee for a friend, help the needy, cook your favorite meal, and just live life. Because, as cliche as it may sound, life is too short. It's too short to be caught up in mundane issues and think we're stuck instead of looking at every new day as a continuous blessing that's been bestowed upon us. The world doesn't need more Blackies or Laquicas or Black Eyes, but it always needs kinder people. Those who are more compassionate, empathetic, helpful, and most importantly, capable of love. On that note, let's end today's video. Do like, share, comment, and subscribe if you like the video, and don't forget to press the bell icon to receive notifications so you never miss out on a new video.